So maybe love isn't about finding the right person as soon as possible. Maybe it's about becoming the person who can finally meet them. Those are the red strings he uses to tie together the feet of men and women. Once the string is tied, no one can escape. Oh, hi there, Ziola here. Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, I actually got these chocolates because they're leftovers from my sister's gift, which is kind of funny because it reminds me of something I realized after coming to the US. You know how Valentine's Day here isn't just for couples. It's a day for everyone, pretty much. It doesn't matter if you're old or young or single or in a relationship. My youngest sister always get stationery or little cards for her friends and classmates. And when I was in school, I'd get Valentine's cards from my besties or even from teachers. But growing up, before coming to America, I always thought that Valentine's Day was only for couples, only for adults. Because in China, we also celebrate the Western Valentine's Day. You can tell by all the on sale sign in flower shops. But later on, a friend of mine told me the story of Saint Valentine and asked me, is there something like Valentine's Day in Chinese culture? And I say, of course we do. So in Chinese legend, we also have someone in charge of the love and marriage, a celestial official who governs destiny and relationship. His name is Yue Lao, which literally translates to the old man under the moon. And today, I wanted to tell you the story of the very first time that Yue Lao was mentioned in written records. Once upon a time, in early years of the Tang Dynasty, around 630 AD to be exact, because we're pretty precise today, there was a man named Wei Gu. I know, his name sounded like Wagyu beef. But anyways, this young man just really wanted to get married and build a family of his own because he lost both of his parents and has no one left on earth. But no matter how many proposals he made, none of them ever worked out. So one day he traveled to a city called Songcheng and stayed at a local inn. Another guest staying there introduced him to a possible match, the daughter of Pan Fang, a formal official from Qinghe. They agreed to meet the next morning at Longxing Temple. So Wei Gu was so eager to settle down, so he got there before sunrise. And just then, the moon was about to set, but the moonlight was still bright. Wei Gu noticed a man sitting at the stone steps leaning against a cloth bag, using the moonlight to carefully examine a book. Wei Gu took a closer look, but strangely, he couldn't read it. So he asked the old man, "Sir, what kind of book are you reading? I studied hard when I was young. There isn't a single Chinese character that I don't recognize. I've even read the Sanskrit from India. But this book, man, I've never seen anything like it. What is it?" And the old man smiled and said, "This is no book from the human world. Of course you can't read it." So Wei Gu asked him, "Then what kind of book is it?" The old man replied, "This book was from the underworld." Wei Gu was startled and asked, "If you're from the underworld, why are you here?" And so the old man said calmly, he said, "It's not that I'm here too early, it's that you came out so early in this morning and happened to run into me." Now officials like us, we are from the underworld. We each have duties to relate to the human world. So of course we come here often. So Wei Gu asked, "Then what exactly are you in charge of?" And the old man answered, "I'm keeping the marriage records for everyone." And Wei Gu was like, he was overjoyed when he heard this, and asked, "Hey, I'm all single. I've always wanted to get married, to start a family, have children, and I've tried so many years. I've tried for more than 10 years. I've tried proposing everywhere, but none of them work out. Today, someone invited me here to discuss the proposal. Will this marriage succeed? Yeah. And then the old man said, the timing isn't right yet. Your future wife is just only a young child right now. She won't enter your household until she turns 17. Wei Gu was deeply disappointed. Then he seized the bag of that old man and asked, what is it in the bag? And then the old man told him that those are the red strings he uses to tie together the feet of men and women who are meant to become husband and wife. When they sit down somewhere, he would quickly tie the strings around their feet. And once it's tied, even if they were born into enemy families, or one of them is noble and the other one is poor, or one of them traveled to the end of the world for work, or they came from completely different regions, once the string is tied, no one can escape. So your feet is already tied to hers, he said. What's the point of pursuing anyone else? Then Wei Gu asked, then where's my future wife now? What does her family do? The old man answered, she's the daughter of an old lady named Chen, and they sell vegetables to the north of this inn. By the time it was fully daylight, and the person Wei Gu was supposed to meet never showed up, so the old man rolled up his book, slung the bag on his shoulder, and started to walk away. And Wei Gu quickly followed him. They walked all the way to the vegetable market, where Wei Gu saw an old lady with one eye blinded, and she was holding a little girl who looked about like 3 years old. And the child was poorly dressed. And honestly, she didn't really look pretty at all. And the old man pointed at her and said, here, that's your future wife. And the moment Wei Gu saw her, he was overly overwhelmed with anger. He blurted out, can I just kill her? And the old man replied, what? This child, she's destined to enjoy rank and fortune, and it is because of her that you will one day be granted title of county lord. Why would you want to kill her? And how could you do that? And as soon as he finished speaking that, the old man vanished. And Wei Gu returned to his inn and made a terrible decision. He ordered his servant to kill that little girl. So the next day, the servant attacked her in the crowd and escaped in chaos. And when he came back, he said he meant to stab her in the heart, but somehow only wounded her forehead. That's an important part. He wounded her in the forehead. And after that, Wei Gu continued to seek marriage. But of course, as you know, every proposal still failed. So the story came in 14 years later. Wei Gu was appointed as an official in Xiangzhou. Impressed by his ability, the local governor married his daughter to him. She was young and beautiful. Wei Gu was finally satisfied with his marriage. Yet one little detail stood up to him. She was always wearing a floral ornament on his forehead and never removed it. So after more than a year of marriage, Wei Gu finally asked about the ornament. And through tears, his wife explained that she was not the government's biological daughter. She was his niece. And her parents and brother all died. She was raised by her nurse, Madame Chen, and survived by selling vegetables near an inn. As a child, she was once stabbed in the market, leaving a scar on his forehead, which is why she always covered it. So years later, her uncle took her in and treated her as his own daughter, eventually married her to Wei Gu. And Wei Gu asked her if her nurse is blinded in one eye, and she confirmed it. Wei Gu breathed in deeply and confessed, I was the one who ordered the attack. So he then told her everything that had happened years ago. And after that day, the two became even more respectful and loving towards each other. And later they had a son who became a frontier general. Wei Gu's wife, Lady Wei, she eventually was honored with the title of Grand Lady of Taiyuan Commandery. So that's the story of Yue Lao and his encounter with the young man Wei Gu. My mom used to tell me, when she first shared the story with me, that there's always a tiny string holding you and the right person. Even if you guys are 1,000 miles apart, when the timing is right, it will happen. So you see, some people came into our life too early, before we are ready to understand them. Some stories only make sense many, many years later. Wei Gu spent his whole youth trying to escape the life that was meant for him, and yet every step he took was already part of this path. So maybe love isn't about finding the right person as soon as possible. Maybe it's about becoming the person who can finally meet them. So if today you're with someone you love, cherish that. And if you're alone like me, still waiting or still healing, that doesn't mean that you're late. It just means that the moon hasn't reached the right place in the sky yet. So, happy Valentine's Day! I'm Ziola. See you next time. Hi there! Ziola here. Do you ever find yourself missing those childhood stories as a teen or young adult? Some of them felt very scary when you first heard them, and some seemed pretty strange once you look back on them later. Before I moved to the US, I was already super familiar with Greek mythology, Bible stories, and a lot of classic Western fairy tales. But after I got here, I realized that most people around me had never even heard about the old myths or the stories of China. Some of my friends might know a bit about Japanese tales because of the anime they're watching, but Chinese tales, almost no one. That's why I'm starting this channel, to share some of the amazing stories I had grown up with. Some were told to me by my grandmother, and other came from this classic book, Liao Zhai, which literally translates to tales told at the dinner table. Anyway, I hope you enjoy these stories. Drop a comment to let me know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe.